This episode explores a long-standing debate that once again erupted over the last couple of weeks on the left among several prominent left-wing commentators for whom I have very high regard about what the proper relationship ought to be between left-wing populists on the one hand and right-wing populists on the other. It sounds to me then like on the principle, which is the principle being, if you're on the populist left, you can and ethically and perhaps strategically should work with people who identify as the populist right when you actually have issues in common. And so, for example, Bernie Sanders, who's probably the most identifiable left-wing populist along with AOC in terms of prominent political officials, wanted to stop the war in Yemen, and he looked for allies on the right to do it because he didn't have enough in his own party, and he found Senator Mike Lee. Leave aside the question of how much common ground there is. On the principle, do you agree that that principle is a valid one?
Yes, I agree the principle is valid. What I'm arguing is that it's kind of irrelevant, right? Because of what the nature of what the populist right is, which is that it's generally a gigantic fraud. Like, it doesn't really have anything in common with the left.
I think that there is definitely a populist right, and I would make a distinction between the so-called leaders in DC, who I largely think are sort of frauds in this regard, and the fact that you have a broad swath of the population that is sympathetic both to sort of left economic policies and more socially conservative positions that I would classify as the populist right writ large.